If we step back in time, before the skyscrapers, before the trams, before the gold rush that would define a continent, we find a different Melbourne. This is the story of its first fragile year. It is 1835. The place the Kulin nation knows as Naarm, a vital meeting place for ceremonies and trade for over 40,000 years, is about to witness a new and tumultuous kind of gathering. European settlers from Van Diemen's Land, lured by the promise of rich pastures, are arriving on these shores. With modern AI, we can now reconstruct that pivotal, precarious moment. We can walk the muddy tracks, smell the wood smoke, and witness the birth of a city from the ground up. This isn't just a map coming to life. It's the sound of an axe biting into ancient river red gum. The first contentious negotiation, the raw chaos of a beginning. Welcome to Melbourne, 1835. Our reconstruction begins at the water's edge, with the river that made everything possible. To the Wurundjeri people, it is the Birrarung, the river of mists and shadows. To the arriving Europeans, it is the Yarra. Standing here, you would see not the brown, canalized waterway of later years, but a clearer stream. Its flow defined by a crucial natural feature, the falls. This rocky ledge, just upstream from where Queen's Bridge stands today, was the boundary between salt and fresh water. It was here. Legend says that explorer John Batman, after sailing up the river, declared, "This will be the place for a village." Imagine the scene, a gentle, wide valley flanked by low hills to the east and west. The air filled with the scent of ti tree and eucalyptus. The riverbanks are dense with scrub, a landscape shaped by millennia of careful Aboriginal land management. This wasn't an empty wilderness awaiting discovery. It was a lived-in, intricate world. The river carried canoes, not clippers, and its fresh water was the reason this site was chosen. Everything that follows, every building, every street, every conflict flows from this single geographical fact. From the river, let's move to the precise point of contact. With AI, we can visualize the landing site near the present-day Queen's Wharf, where the schooner Enterprize dropped anchor in August 1835. This was not Batman's party, but a rival group financed by the tenacious John Pascoe Fawkner. When Batman arrived a month later, expecting to find empty land secured by his controversial treaty, he was met with the smoke of rivals' campfires. That so-called treaty, involving blankets, knives, and flour for 600,000 acres, was already annulled by the government in Sydney, who saw the settlers as mere trespassers. So here, on the north bank of the Yarra, begins a messy, uncoordinated, and entirely unofficial settlement. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth and burning timber. The sound is a cacophony of hammering, livestock, bleating, and heated arguments. Men who are ex-convicts, speculators, and laborers share this muddy space, united only by a desire for new land. There is no government, no law, no plan, just ambition, and the sheer force of people refusing to leave. If we walk inland from the chaotic landing, the landscape quickly shifts from riverbank to building site. The architecture of 1835 Melbourne is not about grandeur, but sheer necessity. Early buildings are modest, almost entirely single or double-story, and built in the simple Georgian style common to colonial outposts. Many are constructed from timber, rough-hewn from the surrounding forest. Others use local bluestone or brick. They are functional boxes with gabled roofs, scattered without order. Imagine walking down a path that will one day be a major street. You dodge tree stumps, skirt around piles of clay, and step over open drains. There are no paved footpaths, no streetlights. At night, the settlement is a constellation of a few dozen flickering candles and lanterns, swallowed by the profound darkness of the bush. One of the only community structures rising is a small wooden church, the precursor to St. James' Old Cathedral. It is a stark, humble silhouette against the vast Australian sky. This reconstruction allows us to feel the precariousness of it all, tiny human imprint on a massive ancient land. A city is not just buildings, it is people. And in 1835, Melbourne's population is a volatile mix. Historians estimate that within the first year, over 170 settlers and a staggering 26,000 sheep had arrived. The social order is fluid and tense. Wealthy Tasmanian entrepreneurs like Batman and Fawkner jostle for influence. Speculators and shopkeepers set up trade. Laborers and former convicts provide the muscle, hoping for a foothold in a new society. And moving through this new world, often on its fringes, are the Aboriginal people of the Kulin nation. Their world is being unraveled with terrifying speed. They are struck by introduced diseases and pushed off their traditional hunting grounds. Some attempt to barter or negotiate. Many watch from a distance as the very fabric of their country is torn apart. The settler community itself is plagued by drunkenness and disorder. It is a raw, masculine, and often harsh environment. If we could witness this firsthand, we would see not the birth of a genteel society, but the gritty, unvarnished struggle of a frontier outpost trying to become something more. The pivotal moment of transformation from camp to town comes in March 1837. Governor Richard Burke of New South Wales, having accepted the settlement's inevitable existence, sends surveyor Robert Hoddle to impose order. What's remarkable here is the boldness of the vision. With AI, we can hover above the scattered huts and see Hoddle's famous grid materialize. He lays out wide streets, 30 meters across a generous scale meant to allow bullock teams to turn. The pattern is rigid, geometric, and entirely dismissive of the gentle undulations of the land. This is the European mind imposing its logic on a new continent. The streets are named after English politicians and patrons: Collins, Burke, Flinders, William. As the grid is marked out, the first land sales are prepared. This is the true founding act of the modern city. The chaos of the squatters' camp is being surveyed, measured, and converted into real estate. Standing here at this digital crossroads, you can feel the shift. The village is being replaced by the town. The future Melbourne is being drawn in lines of ink and chains of surveyors' marks. Let's use this reconstruction to engage all our senses and step into the daily rhythm of the town in late 1835. The primary sound is constant labor, the thud of axes, the screech of saws, the shouts of men directing ox carts laden with stone. The main streets are dirt tracks that become quagmires in the rain and dust bowls in the summer heat. There are no sewers. The smell is a potent mix of wood smoke, animal manure, and the tannery that has already been established. You might see a small, bustling market near the river, where settlers barter for fresh produce. Notably, one of the first substantial buildings is a Hotel the Devonshire Arms in Fitzroy. Opened in 1843, speaks to the central role of the pub in frontier life. And in a cool cellar, John Pascoe Fawkner keeps one of Melbourne's first thermometers, meticulously recording the weather, a small act of science in the midst of the scramble. Life is hard, precarious, and focused utterly on survival and profit. From the daily grind, we pull back to witness the final formal act of foundation. On the 10th of April, 1837, Governor Burke proclaims the settlement's name, Melbourne. It is a political choice named for the British Prime Minister William Lamb, 2nd Viscount, Melbourne. The makeshift names used by the settlers' Batmania consigned to history. With the name comes a new, fragile authority. Captain William Lonsdale arrives as the first police magistrate, bringing a handful of troops to enforce Crown law. A courthouse and a lockup are built. The era of pure squatter anarchy is ending. The town's future is now hitched to the vast engine of the British Empire. The population is still only a few hundred, but it is growing. Wharves are busier. Ships arrive. The foundations, both physical and administrative, are set. What began as an illegal venture is being woven into the legal and commercial fabric of a growing colony. As our reconstruction draws to a close, we look out from a hill over the tiny grid of streets by the Yarra. In 1835, it is impossible to foresee the decade of madness that is to come, the gold rush that will see the population explode from 23,000 to over 500,000 in just 30 years. You cannot see the grand Victorian buildings, the cable trams, or the title Marvelous Melbourne. All that exists is potential and struggle. The transformation of Naarm has begun, with profound consequences for the first peoples whose land this has always been. Standing here in this AI-rendered past, we are witnessing the planting of a seed. It is a seed of commerce, of colonialism, of a new society. It will grow in ways no one on these muddy banks could fully imagine, fueled by gold, ambition, and sheer human force. This is where it starts. What period of history